Hello, in this screencast we're going to look at how we can pass parameters when making HTTP requests. So we'll continue on from where we stopped last time, where we integrated Alamofier and made a very simple GET request. Now let's add some parameters. So basically in Alamofier we'll look at making a request. Okay, now if you scroll down a little bit here, from making a request you will see that there is parameters. You can pass parameters, methods, parameter encoding. Basically we can make a request. We could say you can pass the parameters if the default is going to be parameter encoding. So basically in a GET request, the parameters are going to be passed in the URL. So why not just I add the parameters to the URL and make the request that way? The problem is that these parameters need to be encoded in a specific way. For example, the space parameter needs to be encoded in a specific encoding so that it could be understood by the server. If you just add it as a space, the server is not going to understand it unless it's encoded in the correct way. So to manage the encoding, we'll use just the parameters that are used, the way of using parameters that is provided by Alamofier. So Alamofier takes care of the encoding and all of that stuff, okay? So we go back here. Let's look at a request that could be get. For example, the one we discussed before was get something from this API and you pass it two parameters. It's a get request. This is the URL, and then you have a parameter called name. The value is Bob Smith, and another parameter which is called age, and the value is 25. And basically, when you submit it, it's a get request. Here it is, name. Oh, sorry, that's in the body. It's not in the body. It has to be in the parameters part. Here it is. The first one is a name, and the second one is an age. The name is Bob Smith, and you could see they are being added to the URL to the top here, and the ages say 25, and you click on send. The server sends back the response telling you that this was a get request and these are the parameters that I have received. Okay, cool. So now let's copy the endpoint. Okay, we'll go here again, say af dot request, and I'm not going to use that simple request, but I will use the request that also enables me to add a lot of things. Okay, go here. And basically the URL is this, okay? And then the method is going to be dot get. It's the get method. Okay, here we are. And then the parameters, let's say for the time being, I'm going to say nil. And then the encoder, I'm just going to say nil. And the HTTP headers is nil. And then the inspector is going to be nil. So basically there are so many things that I will, if I don't provide them, they will use the default one. So let me see if there is another request that doesn't ask for all of this, but enables you to set up so let's say request. And basically there is one that you provide, here it is, I think I'll use this one. You just provide the URL, the encoding, the parameters. Let's see, another one, request. You can, there's this one, parameters. Okay, and what is that one? To execute the specific URL request. And then using the encoding headers and encoding and headers and blah blah blah. So basically let's use this one, okay? And then the URL I'm going to provide in a little bit, and then the HTTP method is going to be get, right? The parameters, let's say nil for the time being. The encoding, let's say for the time being, the parameter encoding. Let's look at what are the different parameter encoding. So look here, I could just say encoding URL encoding, and then I'll say default, okay? Do that. Okay, perfect. So I'll go back here. I'll say URL encoding default. Okay. The headers, I'll say nil. And then the interceptor, I'll say for the time nil. And then I'll say dot response as a string. Where is that? Response dot string. Oops, there's another one. Response string, which is the simpler one, right? So where is that? So response string, which is this one. It has a handler. I'll just click on enter, creates the code block for me. I'll say response, and here we are. So now let's see, I need a URL. The URL, I'm going to get it from my Postman. Here it is. So here is Postman. I'm going to get the URL from here, which is, this is the URL that I'm going to use. Okay, here it is. And it's a get parameter, right? The get request. What are my parameters? My parameters are name and age. Let's go back here. How do you manage these parameters? If you look a little bit here, they show you that if you want to have parameters, here it is, parameter encoding. This is how you create parameters. key value pairs. It's a dictionary of key value pairs. So basically I'll go here, I'll say these are my parameters, name, and then I have the age parameter, let's say 25, name is Bob Smith, and the age is 25. So I can do it this way so that you could see that I have a name, an age, okay, and then instead of nil I'll just pass my the parameters. Okay, so basically we'll pass the parameters, and it's a get request. I'm passing the parameters this way, and all what I have to do is the same story. I'll just check to see if the response is correct or no, right? I'll look at if the result is successful. If yes, I'll print out whatever is coming back, and otherwise I'll print error. Okay, let's run it and see. This is the emulator. Very nice. So this is what I'm getting from the second response. It's a get request and Bob Smith, age 25. Now if we go to Postman and change this to a post, but then we have to add these parameters not to the URL. We have to add the parameters to the body, right? Name, age, and we'll go here, we'll say name is Bob Smith, the age is 25, and click on send, and the post request tells you it's a post request, and these are the parameters that you sent in the body. Very nice. How do we do that here? Instead of get, we say it's a post, and we're good to go. Run it, and you will see that you will get back a response. Here we are. Same story. You get, so changing from post to get is straightforward. The parameters, the library automatically takes care of where the data is going to be sent, URL, or is going to be sent in the body based on the method that you pass here. Very simple, and I hope this was useful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.